record to this computer.
Recording in progress.
Closing the chat frame. Yes. There we go. Nope. Good morning, Mr. Dalton.
Good morning.
I'm glad you're feeling better. Well, fog. Is he speaking of inner or outer? Maybe both. This is a little poem from this book, which came through Laura Musikanski and myself. If you haven't read it, it's worth it. It's a good thing to ponder. At the very end, the last chapter is a poem. It's a poem that arose several years ago. Jennifer, my wife Jennifer, went to Tulane in New Orleans and fell in love with the place and has gone back many times with her best friends since elementary school. They're close friends. And they've met there for the Blues Fest for a few days, for some years. She took me to show me her favorite places and eat beignet and other things. Anyway, the last day that I was there, we took a cab to the hotel where her friend was staying, and I got out. We both got out, and we had a quick hug and a kiss, and I got back in the cab and headed for the airport, and she went to be with her friend. And on the plane, halfway home, after some stop, I think Kansas City, I went back to the restroom, and then as I returned from the restroom, this poem came. And it's often the case, poems, when they come almost finished for me. So it's called 33,000 Feet. People sleep, watch videos, play games on screens, and sip at wine. Flying west over snow-covered mountains, a chasm opened, or perhaps just revealed itself with a taxi goodbye kiss. That moment of looking away, it's always the same. Here, and then not here. Those moments that we actually have when we can touch, hear, see, and smell one another are all we really have. The stakes are high, aren't they? Either we connect and love one another now, or not at all. People sleep, watch videos, play games on screens, and sip at wine. Flying west over snow-covered mountains, a chasm opened, or perhaps just revealed itself with a taxi goodbye kiss. That moment of looking away, it's always the same. Here, and then not here. Those moments that we actually have when we can touch, hear, see, and smell one another are all we really have. The stakes are high, aren't they? Either we connect and love one another now, or not at all. That poem always reminds me of a poem that I heard from my mentor, Don Nickerson, who's now 95. And his dementia is getting pretty deep. But a year ago or so, I went to visit him, as I do periodically. And we have traded poems for decades when we get together. And I asked him if he had a poem, and he said yes. And then he fell silent. And there are long silences between us now. Minutes, anyway. And then he said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yes." Another fairly long silence, and then he said, "Here, not here. Here, not here." And right now, that was the end of the poem. Right now, we are here. We have this moment of life. Out of the unimaginable vastness of the emptiness of space and being comes you, comes me. And we have the extraordinary privilege, gift of somehow being bitten to wake up. We missed the vaccination that would have kept us from starting to wake up. We've fallen out of the trance. It really doesn't seem like gathering together more stuff, striving for more security in the world is going to work. And so we find ourselves taking refuge. Or maybe refuge takes us. We take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. There's no predicting really anything, but there's no predicting what mood we'll awaken in. There's no predicting what surprises the body has in store for today or the world. But what's happening right now? There is, in fact, the experience of in-breathing and out-breathing. There may well be thoughts. If there's a lot of wandering mind, or if the hindrances are in full sway, sometimes noting is helpful. It's very big in some lineages, the Mahasi Sayadaw. With each rising, one notices, makes a little mental note, rising, rising, chest and abdomen rise, noting. With each falling, one notices falling, falling, rising, rising, falling, falling. When awakening happens in the midst of a wandering mind, it's wandering, wandering, returning, returning. And we can be articulate about which of the hindrances are holding court. It's wanting, wanting, or not wanting, not wanting. Desire and aversion. It's restlessness, agitation, and worry, or it's sloth and torpor. It's doubt, despair, dispiritedness. Naming things as they are, as they arise and as they disappear. Letting in breathing and out breathing, rising, rising, falling, falling, be your compass in the direction of now. The first foundation of mindfulness is the body. It's the slowest changing aspect of a human existence. It still, too, is in complete and utter change. Eventually vanishes. In the ancient words of the Buddha, around the first instruction, mindfulness of breathing, breathing in long. No. There is the case where a person, having gone to the wilderness or the shade of a tree, or to an empty building, sits down, sitting comfortably upright, holding the body erect, and setting mindfulness to the fore. Always mindful, they breathe in. Mindful, they breathe out. Breathing in long, they discern I'm breathing in long, or breathing out long, they discern I'm breathing out long. Or breathing in short, they discern I'm breathing in short, or breathing out short, they discern I'm breathing out short. They train themselves, I will breathe in sensitive to the entire body. They trained themselves, I will breathe out sensitive to the entire body. They trained themselves, I will breathe in calming bodily fabrication and formations. They train themselves, I will breathe out calming bodily formations. Just as a skilled worker at a lathe or their apprentice, when making a long turn, discerns, I am making a long turn, or when making a short turn, discerns, I am making a short turn. In the same way, the monk, when breathing in long, discerns, I am breathing in long, or breathing out long. They discern, I am breathing out long. Thus, they train themselves. Strange words, strange choice of words, yet it's very descriptive of the simplicity of it. We tend to want something more intellectually satisfying or more complex. When mindfulness of breathing is really landing here like a rock, and the body breathes. At the end of each section of the teachings, every new introduction, all the way through the 4 foundations of mindfulness, there's a section called the Refrain. It repeats every time. For decades, I skipped over it. Why repeat something so much? With the body, in this way, they remain focused internally on the body in and of itself, or externally on the body in and of itself, or both internally and externally on the body in and of itself. They pay attention to their own body, or to a body around them, or to both. Or they remain focused on the phenomenon of origination with regard to the body, or the phenomenon of passing away of the body. They pay attention to the beginning and ending of each breath. There is mindfulness such that there is a body is maintained sufficient to remember. There is a body. Simple. And they remain independent, clinging to nothing of the world. This is how a person remains focused on the body in and of itself. And so, dear friends, let us come home and be here. And in this stabilizing, concentrating, awakening practice, we will notice how the self, the experience of I, me, mine, arises from the five hindrances, from fantasies, from the problems of our life, from the restlessness, from the liking and disliking. And once put in motion, the journey is like a rock thrown into deep water. It's going to find its way home. So we sit and breathe. Right here, right now. The self is quite a show, isn't it? With its wanting and not wanting, with its need to move, with its plans for the future and ruminations about the past, with its comparing and judging, feeling better than or worse than, finding fault with itself or its body. Reacting to world events. And right now, sitting here, just like Siddhartha at the foot of the Bodhi tree, the place of awakening. Observing as each breath is born from nothingness. From emptiness. And then it dances its lifetime and then vanishes. This one right now. Please let us become aware of the entire body. How does one do that? Or notice hearing. The inference, the perception made from the noise in this place right now. There's a small plane passing overhead. It's all done through sound. Sound and perception, memory. Let us become alive in the hands and thumbs and fingers. Maybe move them in the tiniest, not even perceptible way, perceptible from the outside. And now allowing awareness, inviting awareness to awaken in what we know or think of as the face, and the cheeks and the lips and the eyes. A familiar process. A way to end a formal period of practice. And noticing the intention to allow the eyes to open. it's quite interesting. It's suggested, this voice suggests, prepare to let the eyes open, and then there's the preparation. And then there's the lifting, the intention to lift the eyelids, and it's actually some work involved. And then blurry seeing and more clear seeing, perhaps, if the eye is intact. And then seeing. Seeing our local Sangha. Let your eyes roam from one person to another. You might notice the familiar liking and disliking, judgments. The heart could be quite open or quite closed. Seeing. As the thought arose to do this again this morning, 5 minutes ago or so, I remembered one of my favorite little poems. I sometimes recite it to Jennifer on the phone, voicemails. Piglet sidled up to Pooh and said, "Pooh?" "What, Piglet?" replied Pooh. "Oh, nothing. I just wanted to be sure of you." Thank you for coming to be together this morning, to practice together. I love that line. I just wanted to be sure of you. It's one of the things we need profoundly in those first months and years of our lives is someone to be sure of. It's actually essential for our development of compassion and basic trust. Jim is leading a Qigong workshop tomorrow. Is it still possible to Qigong meditation? It's a meditation workshop with Qigong and poetry. Is it still possible to sign up, Jim?
Yeah, the registration is still open. There's often people that don't make up their mind until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, they could always get a better offer, you know.
All right.
Could be something more interesting.
Keep all options open.
And beyond that, I think I'd like to switch over to you. Is there anything anyone would like to share this morning? On this beautiful, gray, foggy day.
I'll check in. Hi, everybody. It's Kat.
Hello, Kat.
Hello, Robert. Um, ooh, that was an unusual sound. Um, every few months or so, I just have to remind myself what a miracle this group is and how grateful I am. Um, today, my girlfriend and I are going to Bend for her daughter's wedding, and it's kind of like a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. It's a huge deal. Um, and meeting her family and all that kind of thing. And I have to think of where my instincts would have been of what to do this morning a year and a half ago before I found this group. And I don't think it would have been, hey, let's wake up after 6 hours of sleep and go sit for 45 minutes and be aware of our breath and bodies. I don't think that's how I would have thought to start the day. Um, and that as like just a setting point of how to start this weekend just feels like a total beautiful shift of being. And there have definitely been times in the past couple months with school getting really intense and life getting really intense that sitting has felt not like the easy choice anymore. Um, and so it's nice to have touch points like this of like, oh, no, but it's still very much a homecoming. And I loved the image this morning of the rock falling into the pool. Like, you drop it in, it might take a while, it might be really, really deep water, and the water might be a little hectic, but eventually the rock will find its way home. So I just wanted to check in and thank you all. You're all such beautiful beings, and there are just so many of you I've gotten to see so many of the days for the past, well, actually going on nearly 2 years. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat.
Hi, Robert. Hi, Sangha.
Hello, Amy.
Hi, I just had a quick question. I wondered if there's still spaces in your Hollyhock retreat.
There are.
Okay, thank you. I'd love to go. The journey feels really daunting, so I have to try to find someone who wants to go.
What feels daunting about it?
um, I don't like to drive on highways very much. So,
Ah,
I mean, I can, but I don't
right.
like to. It's stressful. Um, so yeah, so I have to try to find someone who wants to go.
I have not looked recently, but in the past there have been people from Portland going, and people have carpooled.
Yeah.
And flying is expensive, but it is an option.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. Well, if anyone wants to go, let me know.
I hope you can make it happen. I'd put you in my suitcase and take you, but I'm going early to visit my sister, and it does get cramped in the suitcase.
Yes. Sounds like it. All right. I'll look out for other options. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Amy, I have a list of names of people who are attending, and I can probably get, I don't know, Canada is very stringent about control of emails. Like, it's been difficult it became difficult several years ago to ask them for a list of the emails of the participants. But let me see what I can do. Well, dear friends, I have a long day of much engagement ahead of me, and if there's nothing popping up right now, this silence is really sweet. Hi, Lauren. I could catch Jennifer for 2 minutes before she heads off to work if I end soon. So let us sing our way home. See some of you Sunday, and have a wonderful, beautiful day. And just thinking, somehow or another, I'm approaching this day with a little bit of, it's a little bit less enthusiastic than sometimes. It's, oh boy, I got to drive across town again. All the usual things, nothing onerous, but just, I think I'd rather be skiing, or maybe I think I'd rather be on the beach in Costa Rica or something. There's some resistance. But it is exactly what it is, and it'll be fine. So let us sing our way home. May all beings receive all blessings. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Happy trails, dear friends.
Bye, everybody.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Be well, be well, be well.
Bye, Kat.